I chose to do my strategic plan on service learning implementation in higher education. The site that I chose was the Lycoming College Education Department. I chose the Education Department partially because of my experience at Lycoming College. I graduated in 2013 with a major in biology and a special programs in education. I was very involved throughout my college years, which has allowed me to keep ties with the department and the college community in general. Also, I've always agreed with the mission of the education department. By keeping up with contemporary teaching trends and issues, the faculty members of the education department make classes lively by bringing real issues and solutions into the classroom. From freshman year through graduation, students work side by side with professors to help them become skilled teachers. Plus, with careful planning, students can complete a content major and education certification within 4 years. Throughout this course, we've discussed how important it is to believe in a mission. However, consistency is also just as important. I think the Lycoming College Education Department happens to do just that: believing and consistency. Through my interviews with the Dean of Students and the current chair of the Department of Education, I was able to pull some numbers from the previous school year. Last year, the 2015-2016 school year, Lycoming College had 1,289 total students. In the beginning of the semester, September, the Education Department had 162 total students enrolled in their special program. By the end of the year, April 2016, there were only 147. This means that the loss from the program was roughly 15 students. That number is not including any students who may have transferred or any students who may have dropped out. This is only based off of students that removed themselves from the program. According to Dr. Amy Rogers, transiency in and out of the program is one of the department's major problems. I also pulled SLO data from both the college graduate student learning objectives as well as the department's learning objectives. And 4 out of the 7 student learning objectives from the department match almost directly with the overall school agenda. In addition to all of my interview questions, I asked all of the individuals I interviewed to fill out a SWOT analysis, and I have compiled the most commonly mentioned strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats here. A few of the things that really stood out to me. Under strengths, the small dedicated faculty for the education department. The education department only has 3 full-time tenure-tracked members. Everyone else is either part-time or secretarial. Also from the strengths, they keep current with training and technology through programs on campus or some type of professional development, which is generally sponsored by the partnership with the IU, the intermediate units. Their education lab has 20 brand new iPads for students for daily use, and the iPads are equipped with the latest apps that all of the teacher candidates are seeing being used in the actual classroom. For weaknesses, time and scheduling constraints was the most commonly mentioned weakness, and that seems pretty typical considering that they're getting a content major in addition to the education certification in 4 years. However, it does not provide students with a lot of wiggle room, which leads us to the opportunities. For academics, I believe there's a true opportunity there for less transients within the department if they can convince younger students to be committed to the program earlier. They will have less movement out of the major and faster assurance towards a certification. Some of the threats to these opportunities include the fact that the Pennsylvania Department of Education regulations are consistently changing, and also Lycoming, being a small private school, is required to fill out just as much PDE paperwork as any larger university. In addition to all of that, there's obvious liability working with minors, so the priorities and things for that are going to have to be looked over. And also, there's a lot of community suspicion towards Lycoming's campus because they're trying to expand further into the community, which is being misconstrued by the people of Williamsport. Also, there's a lot of discontent and crime in the area, so there can be severe safety concerns for placement as well as service. As far as resources are concerned, I believe that the largest need can be found in the intellectual aspect. Currently, there are 190 hours of field experience required for a student teacher to even consider placement. In addition to that, Lycoming College themselves requires a certain amount of community service in order to graduate. Service learning courses would help aid with the mandatory hours of service to the curriculum. However, there are only 3 staff members, so not only is there going to be a large buildup of work, there already is, but also there's a very strong locus of knowledge. So if one member disappears, you're going to lose a lot of that information with the loss of that member. Financially, a large chunk of their budget stems from tuition reallocation money. The rest of it comes from a few grants that the Education Department has applied for, such as the technology grant, which is probably their strongest resource pool. Not only have they recently received the grant for the iPads, however, they just received another grant allowing for all of the classrooms to be updated with current smart boards, which are going to replace the Eno boards in the building. Based off of the data and the resources required, I've created the 5 steps for success towards implementing service learning at Lycoming College in the Education Department. Step 1 is preparation. The measurable goals for the preparation are creating a course description with specifically aligned student learning objectives, the integration of the student learning objectives into the course content, and then all of the descriptions and requirements, such as the time commitment, grade value, the type of project, location of the project, and how it's going to be evaluated. Step 2 is the piloting of the service learning courses. To start, you need to create a foundation of both the philosophy of service learning and the pedagogy, giving students a base of what the program is about. In addition, when the pilot is continuing, getting student support and feedback throughout the process, because support and feedback during service learning is incredibly important. Step 3 is reflection, and the measurable goals for this are the actual student learning and their performance throughout the course, the student satisfaction rating, and the instructor satisfaction rating. Step 4 is celebration, and the measurable goals for that are celebrating student success and student motivation throughout the process, as well as instructor celebration. And the last step, step 5, is monitoring and recognition. The measurable goals for this are collecting data within the institution, researching within and across several different institutions with other service learning programs, publicizing the work that the department is doing, and participating in various workshops. This way they have an assessment measurement that they can then compare to other institutions. And lastly, here are my references with my various interviews and the Implementing Service Learning in Higher Education article that I read in order to get an idea of how to pilot the courses, and Lycoming College's current strategic plan.